So coming back to the topic that I'm going to present tonight is transitioning and coping with reopening of schools. I'm in a unique situation, alhamdulillah, where I am a mother of two and I run a school at the same time. So looking at it from the point of view as a parent and an educator, I have a plus point. But before I jump into talking about things, I just want everyone viewing me tonight to know something. We all learn through different crises. We all learn through mistakes we make, and no human is perfect. Many times when I talk to the crowd, I have parents or people coming and telling me, how would you know? Everything is so perfect. You have knowledge about it. It's not the case. We are in a journey where you're learning every day and you experience something new every day as well, just like the pandemic. It's something new. We've all been worried about it. We didn't know how to take it as it came. We were worried for safety aspects. We didn't know what was coming next. But alhamdulillah, with God's blessings, we've made it this far. And the thing that I would want to say is life goes on. We're not at the end. COVID is here to stay for a while. We all know that. But it's our mindset that's going to get us through this period and through this phase as well. So before I open up about how things have been the past 3 months, from the 17th of March when schools have been closed and gradually we're now all set to open up, I'm going to share a little bit about how both my children are so different from each other and how they have to handle it, and how I played a role as a mother and as an educator as well. It was very stressful having both my kids learning everything online. My older one is 15. She didn't need my support as much as my 11-year-old son did. It was very frustrating for him because he's not a learner who can sit and focus. He's a kinesthetic learner. He needs movement. He needs to be up and about doing different kinds of things. And I tried telling him that this is the new normal. It's going to be this way for a while. I tried making it fun for him. We would do sessions. I'd give him a break, we'd play a game, and he'd come back as well. And he'd always turn and look at me and look into my eyes and say, Mom, is this how it's going to be? And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I wish I could reach out to him deep within and shake all the fear out, but that's not the case. We need to prepare our children for what the reality is. It's nothing to be scared about. It's something to face bravely. And my elder one is very strong. She took it all strongly. She was working independently. And I made a statement just the other day when I was talking that God forbid, even if my elder one were to get COVID, she'd fight it out. Where I was worried my younger one would succumb to it because a slight headache and he'd say, Mom, do I have COVID? And a slight tummy ache, he's like, Mom, do I have COVID? And I realized it was me as a parent. I kept looking at the news because I was counseling as well. I wanted to be on track. I wanted to know what's happening out there. Every time I was looking at it, he was looking at it too. Or he would go and take his gadget and go through the news as well. And that was really getting to him. So not only as a parent, but as an educator now, I started counseling him, working with him. It's something different counseling outsiders and then counseling someone of your own family. But as a parent, it's very important for us to understand that our children are learning what they live. So the way we panic at home or the way we show our fear is what they're going to pick on. And naturally, they're going to be scared as well. This is a mindset. We know just the way we have malaria and dengue and other kinds of illnesses, it's there, but we were out and about. We were strong, taking precautions. The same way COVID is here to stay for a while. All we need to know is be safe, take the necessary precautions, and we're all set for the life to continue normally if we take the necessary precautions. So jumping into the topic now, the pandemic has been very difficult, not only for children, but for parents, for educators, for everyone, I would say. It came as a big shock, right? 17th March turned life 360 degrees for everyone, but we embraced it very strongly, and that's what has kept us going so far. So given the difficult situation that we're facing at present, we have these questions coming, and first I'm going to take it on a parent's perspective. Is it safe for my child to go back to school? I have been asked this question by many parents. And first, I'm going to approach this question like a parent and then like an educator. I said I'm in a beautiful, unique situation where I can attend it from both. As a parent, yes, I am very confident that I'm ready to send my child to school. But why am I so ready and eager to send my child? Is it because I'm frustrated having them at home? Is it because I can't give them enough time? Is it because I need to work? Is it because I just am frustrated having them at home with me because they're a handful? To be honest, why I want them to be back at school is they need to be back to the normal life. They're missing out on a lot of social interaction, emotional development, cognitive development, their academics as well. They're missing their friends, their teachers, their peers. They're missing the real world out there, their real life. So I really do want them to go back to school. And as a parent, we've had several meetings with schools, and I have come to learn about what safety measures they are taking. And this is a necessary part that I would approach now on the education sector, being head of a school, and also being an educator. It is very important to have transparency, and all schools need to have meetings prior to the children returning back to school, where they're talking about their safety procedures, what are their measures they're going to take, how are they going to ensure the safety of the children, and basic things like I will share with you. A couple of what other things I'm going to do at my own school is temperature checks are very common, washing the hands are very common. We are hoping to sanitize their bags because anything coming from outside could carry anything. Shoes carry a lot of bacteria and viruses as well. I'm not saying it's going to bring COVID into the school campus, but we're implementing a system which would be beautiful for many schools if they could. But I have a preschool, so for me, it's very workable, and this is very much what we're planning to do. We're going to ask parents during the meeting to come with an extra pair of rubber or plastic shoes for each child, which will remain on school campus. So when parents are dropping the children in the morning, apart from going through the temperature check and the sanitization of their bags and washing their hands, they're going to leave their home shoes on a shelf at the entrance, and they're going to wear the shoes that the parents have prior brought for us, which we would be sterilizing and sanitizing on a daily basis. Coming to the classroom, we already had been cleaning them early in the morning with disinfectants and afternoon. All the equipment and resources used will need to be cleaned. I personally, as the head of school, have had a big challenge because I have preschoolers who are so used to being together with each other. This is the age where everything goes into their mouth. This is the age where they want to explore, be together, sing together, play together. I have downsized all my classes. Even their snack times are going to be apart. We are going to have segregated play times as well. We're having different activities. We're using more of the outdoor space as well. We cannot expect young children to practice social distancing. For them, touch and hugs and warmth means so much. But primary and secondary students can definitely practice these kinds of things. And when it comes to primary and secondary schools, they can very much implement the same things. Like I said, we've been going through a training, and they have separate areas designated for their snacks and their lunch, where the desks are placed in the classroom are far apart as well. If there's any symptoms or signs of not feeling well, the child is immediately given medical attention. So there's lots of things that the schools are going to have to practice before they open their doors to welcome the children. Another reason why we as a preschool are taking so much extra care is I do not want my staff wearing masks. Children today are so intimidated with these masks because they're not used to seeing people with masks. When I look at children, the smile itself speaks to them. Your eyes speak to the children. So not only children, but my staff are going to go through all these healthy check spots as well every morning. Also, there's a lot of research about children. It's not good for children wearing masks for long. The amount of carbon dioxide you're inhaling again inside, it's really not advisable for children to be wearing masks for a long period of time. So my preschoolers will not be wearing masks. Primary and secondary students, it's up to the schools for what they decide. But again, they really need to consider you can't have a stretch of the children wearing masks for over 5 to 8 hours. It's just not advisable. But I leave that to the other schools. But these are the kind of steps everyone needs to take. And once they have meetings prior to opening, I am very much sure that parents would be at ease. I am planning the same thing to call my parents before I open up. have a meeting with them, talk to them about what we've implemented. We have an open door policy. We openly take suggestions as well. And I do all this because as a parent, I know when my children's school would do this for me, I would be comfortable. I would have trust in what's happening, and I would be in the picture, and I would be allowed to give suggestions. So I know that I'm at a level where I'm ready to send my children back. The other question a lot of parents have been asking, or a lot of schools would be thinking, is what precautions should the schools be taking to prevent COVID viruses from spreading? So I think I've already answered that. The staggering start and close of the school, they may be with the older schools, the primary and secondaries, they would have to consider their time of dropping off the children or picking off. You can't be maybe having the same school time and home time for all because the crowd is bulk at that time. So they would have to look into these things. And as parents as well, these are the kind of things you would want to consider, that are all the children supposed to report at the same time? Are all the children coming out at the same time? If that's the case, how are they going to control the risk? Because children in the schools over here are coming from various areas. Teachers are also coming from various areas. So we need to safeguard all of these things. Meal times need to be divided. Already I know of schools where they have lower primary with separate break times, upper primary doing separate meal times. So this is beautiful. A lot of these things have already been put into practice, and more focus on these things would make things and the transition much more smoother for us. Schools here, alhamdulillah, are blessed with large outdoor areas. So using more of the outdoor facility would be good rather than staying indoor for long. But again, it depends on what kind of curriculum you're following, what kind of space you have at school. Maintaining a balance would be the best. But again, that will be to the school's admin and head to decide. Again, as parents, transparency is very important. So when schools have these meetings or have their open days, these are things you should be looking into for your comfort zone. Hygiene facilities. I know even before schools closed, because we already knew that COVID was on its way, all the schools had sanitizing machines. They had the water dispense, water tap, hand washing systems in place. A lot of them already started checking temperatures as well. So this was being practiced and needs to be continued practice as well. Another question that you as a parent now would want to know is, what questions should I be asking my child's teacher or school administrator? Because the amount of reading your parents must be doing on Google, trying to do fact finding, you probably feel you already know so much. You probably have a PhD on COVID by now. But I always say, sometimes when you know too much, it's dangerous, because sometimes it's misleading, misguiding. You need to trust your schools for what they're doing, but still there are questions on your mind, definitely, that you should ask and should clarify so that you're comfortable. So things that you may want to ask as a parent to the school admin would be, what steps has the school taken to help ensure the safety of the students? Number one. Number two, which is something that all the schools now really need to start looking into, would be, how will the school support the mental health of students and combat any stigma against people who have been sick? So we know, alhamdulillah, in Dar es Salaam, we haven't had many children getting COVID, but children have had fear. So like I said, that I had to counsel my son to get the fear out of him. I am a counselor, so I could do it. We are going to have to implement systems in schools where we should be able to have these systems available to all. Because children, you might realize when they're returning to school, they're not themselves. Some are strong, they're out of it. Some of them will probably be succumbing into a shell, or you could see the anxiety and fear on their face. So teachers need to be trained for certain coping skills and coping mechanism, or how to handle these in the classroom. Another question you might want to ask is, you as a parent, how can you support implementing the same kind of safety procedures? So not only the school should be implementing it, but you should be practicing it. These are the kind of questions you would want to ask. Another very common question that a lot of us are facing today is fallen behind on studies. How is the school going to help them? So personally, we are doing as a school is we have readjusted our school calendar and we're starting early to be able to catch up on those benchmarks and implement new benchmarks to help children catch up on the time lost. Learning went on. We were online. Learning never stopped. We had sessions for the upper classes Monday to Thursday, the younger classes twice a week. So learning continuously went on, right? But if children have slept in certain areas, which we know there has been a bit of a backseat, how is the school planning to help the children in those areas? So those are the questions also that you would need to ask. And whatever routine the school is trying to implement, as parents, you need to have the same kind of routine. You're going to have to give additional support to the children to catch up. You're going to have to give some additional time as well. And over and above all, you're going to have to motivate your child, telling them it's not a race. Believe you me, learning is not a race, it's a journey. It will go on from cradle to grave. So even if your child has lost out on something, do not get paranoid. Do not panic that they're falling behind and the school hasn't done enough. It will happen. It is going to happen. Learning will go on. And the teachers know their responsibilities and duties, and they will make sure that it does continue and it does happen. Another question, which is a very common one, which probably we're all going to face, including myself. We're so used to sleeping late, waking up late, learning at our own convenient time, doing things at our own convenient time. That word, that lazy nature has kind of cracked in to every other person. So what should I do if my child is struggling to get back into school mode? So remember, if you want your child to be able to get back into school mode, you need to start practicing the school routine prior to school opening. So the waking up early, no afternoon nap, a good healthy routine of where you're spending time doing different activities rather than just focusing on, all right, school's over, it's holiday, let my child play PlayStation, let them have the gadget, let them just do free things. Establishing a routine prior to school opening is also very important. And especially getting enough sleep during the night. The one thing that I have realized is every time I talk to parents is they tell me 3 months my child has been home. In my heart, I want to shout out and cry, no, you haven't done the right thing. You would be thinking I'm crazy saying such a thing. Why would I want you to take your children out? So here's why. Your home environment is so clean that you have allowed your child's immunity to drop, right? Your house is spick and span, sanitized, no bacteria, you're constantly cleaning it. So your child saying home has lost their immunity, not lost it completely, but it has definitely dropped. So now when your child is going out back into the real world, forget COVID. Normal colds and flus and coughs and allergies are gonna creep in so much faster than what you'd even have thought. I've been telling a lot of my parents, and I'm telling all my viewers, please take your children outside. And I'm not saying take them out unguarded. Take them out in your cars. Allow them to wear the mask for some time. Allow them to get the fresh air out there. Allow them to start adapting and adjusting to the real world and the environment out there again before they jump back into the school routine. It's very, very important, right? So moving now to the objective of as an educator. What are the steps schools should be taking, and what should we as educators be doing to prepare for opening of school? So prior to opening school, what we really need to do is have this parent meeting where we're transparent, we're sharing our health policies, we're talking about our safety aspects. Maybe we're making rules a little more rigid that if there's cough, cold, or fever, your child cannot attend school just because we're safeguarding the other children. We're going to run a practice where the children are going through these various checkpoints in the morning. So for myself, what I'm doing is I'm calling various groups, age groups, weekly, to start getting them used to the practice. So it's not overwhelming for them, it's not overwhelming for the staff, it's not an overwhelming experience for children, and it's something that everyone should be able to practice. We need to talk about how we're going to maintain social distancing, how we're downsizing classes, what precautions we're going to take. Do the parents feel comfortable doing extracurricular activities like taekwondo, swimming, karate, all those kinds of things? Would parents want a normal school hour, or do you want it a shorter one? We need to have these kinds of meetings to understand what parents are really looking forward to and what they're expecting from us and what we are expecting from the parents as well. Because remember the triangle, the school triangle. If you want success, the parent, teacher, student triangle has to be a very strong bond. And alone as a school, without parental support, the school cannot do well. We need to have, the school will be talking about protocols on hygiene measures, respiratory checks, using of protective equipment, the cleaning procedures, cleaning facilities, and these are the things that need to be discussed during the meeting before the school reopens. So that was prior to opening. Part of the reopening process, my staff have been going through vigorous training from different webinars. We've attended webinars from Dubai. We last night attended a webinar from Toronto. So what we're doing is we're trying to look at different statistics, different practices, different countries. Alhamdulillah, again, I say we haven't been hit so bad, but it's beautiful to learn from different countries. And whatever we've been learning was already what we had in mind of how we want a smooth transition back into school. So the schools really, and as if there are teachers listening to me, if there's educators out there listening to me, please attend these webinars. Get yourself mentally prepared because the school staff need to know how to handle these things, what is expected of them, what kind of practices you're putting into place as well. These need to be established and these guidelines need to be very, very clear during the opening process. Once schools reopen, this is the third stage now. So prior, during the process, and now with schools open, we need to encourage children for safety aspects, the sanitization, washing of hands, everything that the government has asked us to implement as well, the cloth masks for the older children, social distancing, how the process, we had already started practicing this much earlier, even before COVID had hit any country, how when you cough, you need to cough into the corner of your elbow. When there's a child who has a runny nose, how are you going to treat that? How are you going to help them? These are things that you need to consider after schools are open again. Schools really need to share concise and accurate information about how they're going to handle the new normal. They need to talk about their message. They need to talk about how they are psychologically, emotionally, and socially going to help children develop during this period of reopening of schools. I have seen children, 2-year-olds, which is not advisable, but 2-year-old children coming outside wearing masks. And when you ask them, they're like, I'm fighting the COVID doo-doo. It's a very nice way of saying it. But when you talk to them, you can see the fear in them. So educators and teachers have a very big role of now winning their trust and making them feel that life is normal again, but precautions need to be taken. Hygiene has just hit us even more harder. And I just feel, as an educator, a lot of the teething problems that we used to see that used to come from colds and coughs are going to go away because of the amount of hygiene we're going to look into now. So continuity is very important, parents and viewers. Once schools are open, please allow the fear to leave your heart. I know schools and teachers and educators are going to do their maximum to safeguard your child. God has gifted them with all these lives in their hand. We're answerable as educators. We are going to prioritize their health. We want to have a safe continuum out there, but parents need to trust us for that. I have parents telling me 29 schools are opening. I don't want to send my child. No, do send them, but allow the school to first have a meeting with you to talk to you about how they're going to handle all of this. School educators, if you're listening to me, I know we have a lot of students who have dropped out and may not return. It is very important for us to please have contact with these non-returning students. It's not their fault that they had to move countries, or it's not their fault that their parents are scared and don't want them to resume school until next year. Keep a communication between you guys if possible. It's very nice for them to feel that my teacher cares, my teacher is there for me because you understood your child, your student in your class so beautifully well. So please try and adapt that if you can. Teachers, educators, parents, apart from focusing on their academic growth, please also focus on their psychological well-being. I've said this a while ago, but I'm saying it again. A child's mental health is so important. There has been fear. We know, we as adults have been scared. These children are even more scared than us. Unfortunately, they've been exposed to the news, they've been exposed to the reality. There's only little that we can control because of the way the media is, because of the way the world is. They start asking them, did you catch up? Did you do your homework? Did you understand what the teacher said? Let's take a moment to ask them, how was your day? Are you happy going back? Is there something you'd like to talk about? Is there something you're still scared about? Please reach out to your children. And if you as parents notice anything, please talk to your teachers and teachers. If you notice anything with the student, please talk to the parents. Another thing which is very important for the moment, the phase we're going through is school partnerships. We all have open door policies, but it is now the moment where we really need to strengthen these relationships. Parents are going to be scared. They want to have constant information from the school. With all due respect to parents, please also understand the educator's point of view. We will get back to you when we can. We are working for the safety of the children. So we will be having time where we can talk to you. But parents entering the school really needs to be limited. Barging into the classrooms needs to be limited. We have to have a fine line where we have a cutoff. Because we're making the campus so safe for the children, we have to learn that there are boundaries going to be set for parents. But that doesn't mean communication will end. So every school, please, needs to implement different kinds of communication modes where the parents are at ease, children are at ease, and the educators are at ease as well. I will now hand over to Zohraida and open up for the Q&A session. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sure you still have a lot of questions on your mind. I could have gone on for hours, but I spoke on half an hour. I want to give you the first ask me questions if you have any. Over to you, Zohraida.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zohraida. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you for such an informative and enlightening presentation. I'm sure the parents out there are now taking a deep breath of relief, and I'm sure we've all got a lot from this. Now the viewers can either send their questions on the chat, or you could unmute your mic and ask. However, as we're at it, there is a question already, so I'll just start with that one as others think by. Yeah. So there's a question that says, would the timings be as before, or would it be shorter?
So again, there is something that would very much depend on each individual school. For my preschool, I am maintaining the same hours because we have downsized our classes, and we've also given different play times, we've given different outdoor activity times. So for me, my day, the older class is 12:30, and I really feel that children need to be out there at school and start living a normal life. When it comes to primaries and secondaries, every school will have to make their own decision. Although maybe what I would suggest is it is very difficult when you are taking extracurricular activities, because those are the time where you're probably sweating, running, playing. And at that point of time, if there's a child who is coughing or sneezing, would not stop in the middle of the game to cough or sneeze into their elbow. So extracurricular activities, I would say maybe should start a little later, but also for the primary and secondary, it's very important for them to educate their children that if they are going out for outdoor play or PE or sports or such stuff, how are they going to handle it? Because when you're playing games, social distancing becomes difficult, breathing, coughing, sneezing, it's in a very closer vicinity. So schools are really going to have to think of how they want to implement this and whether they want to stick to the same time or make it shorter.
Okay. I hope that question was answered. There's another question.
Another question over here.
Yes. So the other question is, do you think schools need to consider having hybrid approaches with some students on campus and some online? Is this possible?
So from what I understand is, as an educator myself, for my preschoolers, alhamdulillah, we did quite well. However, there are certain children who are not the kind of children who can sit for long hours and focus on their gadgets. Gadgets already have their own setbacks. The more you focus on them, the blue rays play a different role on the brain development itself. But focusing on screen time becomes very, very tedious and very difficult for a lot of children. For preschoolers, I would not advise them to do online studying. Again, primary and secondary depends. So my daughter goes to IST. IST has given three options. One is a full campus option where you are completely on campus, but they're still weighing out how that's going to work. The second option they had given was you do part-time on campus, part-time online. And the third option given was a complete online education-based learning. Looking at international schools, they might actually have to offer these options because in the end, it's the parents' comfort and the child's comfort that really matters. Again, looking at Dar es Salaam, I feel we're very ready to go to school, but I respect every parent's feelings. And if they feel they're not ready to send their children back yet, the schools, the primary and secondary probably should be considering these kinds of things. Or they should have shorter days with some online sessions. But again, like I said, real learning happens on campus. The social interaction, the emotional development, the cognitive development, the kind of things we do at school are so different compared to what we can do online. But every school is, I mean, again, they can make their choice the way they wish to. The government hasn't imposed anything as such. They want all the children back. So I would say that the school management are the best decision makers for such a question.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I can see another question. Just read it out.
Yes. So school students have got used to the routine of e-learning. School academics is a very different form of study. As a counselor, how will the students adjust back in school atmosphere? So the one thing that I would suggest all schools is the first week or two of school, please have interactive games, have fun-filled sessions. I know students may not make it before the morning bell rings. Do not penalize them for that. Allow the transition back into school to be smooth. Talk to them about what the 3 months were like to them. Talk about their fears. Talk about what positives came out of this. I mean, by staying home, the connection between the parent and the children was deeper. I feel they got more quality attention from parents as well. I also know that I have spoken to some teens who say they like e-learning because they can do it in their pajamas. They don't have to wake up really early in the morning. They can do it at their own relaxed time. Or some of them have even told me that they just don't like school. They don't want to go back to school. They're happy being home. If these kinds of things come, then I feel the school systems really need to revisit their teaching methodology and understand why children don't want to go back to school. Personally, my daughter is dying to go back to school. And that's what I would wish to see in every child, that they're so eager to get back to school, to learn, to study, to enjoy their time, to implement new things, to explore new areas of learning, new opportunities of learning. So I would want every child to be eager to go back to school. Another thing what we could do is, would be a suggestion that, again, prior to opening schools, have sessions in school where the children are coming in at a flexible time, spending time with peers, spending time with their teachers, just having friendly chats, friendly ice-breaking games, maybe some events, a school reopening events, talk about things, make them fall back into a normal routine gradually. I honestly don't expect 800 children in a school on the very first day to be there at time with a big bright smile. These transitions really need to be smooth. So I would suggest to schools to start opening in small batches, doing different fun-filled activities, warmly welcoming these children back, getting used to the things before you jump back into a new academic year or you jump back into your school routine. I can see another question. What do you say to a child who's been having so much fun at home that they don't want to go back to school? For me, honestly speaking, I think school is a lot more fun than home. And if you feel that school has been a lot more fun, share your ideas, parents. Tell your teachers, tell your schools what you were doing at home that was so much fun, apart from the extra screen time, please, apart from the cartoons, apart from the gadgets. What was the real fun part you were having? Was it board games? Was it playing different kinds of games with your children? Was it the bonding time? Share these with your schools. And the schools, I know, are such a fun-filled place. Alhamdulillah, I've had parents asking me that, can I bring my child just to see you? They just want to play with you. They just want to be with you. It is up to the educators to create that atmosphere once again. I know being home for 3 months means sleeping late, waking up early, having chocolates, ice creams whenever they want, because the sugar doesn't affect the level of learning. So like I said, routine, falling back into routine is important. Having fun at home is important, but school is equally fun. You as parents need to reassure your children and promise them the school is going to be fun, and the schools have to make this happen as well. Staying home is not a solution, believe me. Being at school is very important, because I know you want to do e-learning. It's very convenient for parents to do these things from home. But when you want your child to be confident, to go up on that stage and to speak and to be able to sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo, these things come from school. These things come from face-to-face sessions at school. These things come from meeting various personalities at the school, learning various qualities and unique attributes from people. It doesn't come just from home. So school is really fun, and we just need to reassure children that we're going to have fun. But please, parents, share your ideas of what you've done during this pandemic with your children, that they love being home so much, and schools should pick on these. They should be ready for positive criticism. That's how we all strive. Looking at the next question, will you be keeping school every day, or have you planned few days in a week? What is advisable? Yes, ma'am, you're right, absolutely. Thank you so much. So what I have planned for my school is we're having a very easy and smooth transition, where I'm calling my 3 to 6 years first for a week, and throughout the week, hopefully, and the next week, I'm calling the rest of the children. We are going to run from Monday to Friday. Why I'm saying this is we are starting school normally. I want children to feel back. I want them to feel at home. If we have Monday, Tuesday school, and then Wednesday, Thursday off, there's no continuum. They're going to start feeling secure in school, and then again insecure because now they're home. And then again, we're trying to bring them back to school. It's not a healthy transition. They have to fall into a routine, feel the continuum, start feeling secure being back at school. So personally, I wouldn't advise a school running twice or thrice a week. We have to get back into place. However, if a parent is not feeling comfortable and they come and say to you that I'm going to choose days for now, and I might pick my child a little earlier, we have to agree and accept to that as well. But like I said, if you are going to have different pickup times and different drop-off times, it would make things much easier. Looking at the next one, would you advise a 3-year-old to start preschool right now or wait until next year? I run a preschool. I'm having my children come back next month. I want them. I've missed them. My entire team has missed them, missed being at work, missed bonding with them. So be it a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, or a 3-year-old, they have the self-motivation to fight a lot of things. They are exposed to sand, they're exposed to the nature, they are building their immunity when they're exposed to these kinds of things. If you ask me, if I even had a 2-year-old of my own, I'd send them from day one if I trusted the school, and if I knew that the school was going to do its very best to safeguard my child. Next question, in an average-sized classroom with 21 children or more, how can you do social distancing with all the furniture around the classroom? Beautiful question, Sarah, but you've also answered a bit of your question in there already. As a school, I have reduced the number of shelves in my class. We have also downsized from a class of about 20 to 22 children. I've moved them down to 12 and 14 children. Morning time, we usually have circle time on the carpet where we're sitting next to each other. We now do not have carpet time. We're gonna have chairs in a semicircle with a distance in between them as well. Like I said, we've reduced shelves. Another thing we had implemented, which we are going to continue, we usually don't have 20 children doing activities at the same time. We have different stations at school. So per activity, we used to have 4 children. Now we're going to downsize it to 2 children for an activity. Even our meal times, we're going to have half classes eating at a particular time, half at another. If the children are all hungry at the same time, because usually when they see children doing something, they want to as well. Even for meal times, we are practicing social distancing. Furniture is movable. You can move it aside to have more space to eat. You can move it the other way to have more space for activities. You're going to have to see whatever you feel is not needed in the class, it needs to be sent outside for now until things fall back into normal space. So reduce the number of furniture in your class, downsize your children, start practicing these kinds of things. Or if you're finding it difficult, try to have your activities outside. I know your school must be having playgrounds or corridors. try to divide your classes where half are doing things inside, half outside. It's really how your school admin and management helps you plan. Any more questions coming my way? And I hope I've been able to answer these. I'll ask the team to share my contact. If you feel you need to get in touch with me, you need to talk to me, you need more advice, please feel free. I'm available anytime.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zohraida. Anybody else, please feel free to ask. You can put your questions on chat, or you can also unmute and ask directly.
Right. Just to add on, if there are any school leaders, school teachers, or school educators on the group right now, if you want to understand more about the health checkpoints or how schools need to start up, how is it going to be, please feel free to get in touch with me, because I am implementing what I called health check stations at my school, which are going to be done in a very friendly manner. So it's not going to intimidate children. And for me, collaboration is growth. It's not that I have something and I'm going to hold on to it just for my school. I would love to share. Together, we can make the world a better place. So whatever I have in mind, whatever we're implementing, I'd love to share with all of you as well, educators, if you're out there on the group. And feel free to get in touch with me. We'll talk about it. And we can share information as well. We can talk about how we're doing things, how it's going to be. Believe you me, we're all set to get back. We all want life to be normal. I can see another question. So, Madam, what about academic portion? Will it be reduced? Again, this really depends upon how the school is going to handle it. A lot of the learning did happen online, but for me personally, I am not starting my school in August. I'm starting a month earlier, and my parents have agreed to it. They're excited about it. My children want to be back as well. Why I'm starting a month earlier is to give my children a hands-on and cover up specific concepts, learning areas, milestones, and benchmarks within that 1 month, to give them a head start of what they had missed out, if they have missed out any, because my school, the learning went on. But yes, if they've missed out, we're going to catch up on that, and we're preparing them for what the next class is going to look like, what the next academic year, the next age level is going to look like, to make the transition smooth as well. Why I'm calling various age groups at particular times is because I want their old teachers to be able to welcome them, to reassure them, to spend time with them, because 3 months they didn't have their teacher, and to come back to a completely new teacher, because my academic year starts in August. So for these children not to have their teachers and to come to a new teacher is very overwhelming, very emotionally upsetting as well. So we've considered all these kinds of things, and we're starting a month earlier than what we had decided to. But I will be sharing this information with my parents, because we believe in transparency. We're going to have these meetings, and this is where we're going to discuss all these kinds of things as well. And academic portion, I'm sure if the child is able to, and if you have skilled teachers, they would be able to meet somewhere or the other. They would be able to cover it all, definitely. And of course, I'm sure schools would need parental support. Like I said, the triangle, the relationship needs to be strong between the teacher, the child, and the parents as well. Any more questions for me?
For anyone who has a question?
If none, then if you come later on with any other question, if you have any queries, you want to have a chat about how things are going to be, please feel free to get in touch with me. I will ask Sayada to share my contact, or if you have a paper and pen with you, you can note it down. My WhatsApp is 0713 336699. I'll repeat that. It's 0713 336699. Or you can book an appointment with me to meet me at my school, which is the Growing Tree Preschool. We're here to grow together, and we're here to help each other.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zohraida. I hope all the questions have been answered at the moment. If any, I'm sure they'll get back to you. We've now come to the end of this session. I'd like to thank Dr. Zohraida once again for taking us through this, and to the viewers for joining us this evening. The session has been recorded and we'll be posting it on our MHI, Mahdi Health Initiative YouTube page for those who couldn't attend. If you do you want us to keep your number on there?
Sure, no worries.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
part of my job as well, so no worries. It's okay.
Great, okay. Thank you,
Hello,
everyone.
ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Yeah, actually, I have joined from abroad. I'm from UAE, ma'am.
Okay.
And I'm also a teacher, kindergarten teacher. So I really got good
Okay.
responses, and I related very well to you when you said that we want the children closer to us, because this virtual is really difficult. You don't want to be with the children, be closer to the children. So that part which you
Yes.
said, I really related with you very well, and I really appreciate whatever you have said, because in UAE they don't want to start the school yet. We'll be having
Oh, dear.
holidays, but they want to keep a distance yet. So it was a different topic for me to attend, but it was surely a learning thing for me. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure. Thank you for being part of the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening and take care.
Take care and happy school days to all our students going back.
All the best. All the best.